Hi, welcome to TA Talks with John and Alex. Today we will be talking about study hints and help.
So the first thing we're going to be discussing is centering ourselves. I mean, that's the one thing I think that's important when it comes to studying and preparing, uh, for the assignments and readings that we have to complete. Um, I think the major point here is just being mindfully aware of when you can handle the type of workload that we have here as grad students. Um, and that just comes with giving yourself the best possible environment to think and doing nothing more. Um, and given that our lives can get so busy, we have job during the day. The only times in that context we really have is during the early morning or late at night. And yeah, I mean, at that point, if we're scrambling, at least I ask myself, what does my professor want me to learn or know about this? Um, in the syllabus or on Blackboard, you'll see usually, depending on how the syllabus is, things will be broken up in terms of what you need to know per week. And that's what you can usually base those questions off of. And still, if you're still confused or you don't know how something applies, if you can still at the end of the day say, okay, here's the module, I understand the concept generally, I'd say you're still on a good track. Um, and especially when you start getting into the extra compared to what you really need to know, um, that's when you can just consider that as extra knowledge because, uh, you know, as we will, reflect on in the next slide, there'll always be more things to read.
Yes. And bouncing off that, know how much you can handle at a time. So one thing that we do is we outline all the work we have to do per module or per week and with due dates, and then ask again what the reason is for the assignment. What could we be getting out of this? When you are getting too tired, unable to see it at the moment, you're just getting frustrated, it's okay to take a break and walk away and come back to it. You can always go back to the work and there will always be something new that you can see, but there's no reason to work yourself to 3 a.m. not understanding something, because sometimes it's as simple as going to bed and then rereading it when you're able to read, because sometimes it's just very hard to get back into that mindset once you're at that level.
Yeah. And right, going off of that, I mean, if you do and are able to take in everything that's been assigned, I've been to the point where I've done that and I've still been confused. But thankfully, it's reassuring that, even if you do the work, hopefully then you can still go to the next class. And given, the instructor's input as well as your classmates, all of that will easily be able to fall in place for you.
Yes, exactly. And I think you'll be able to explain this side beautifully.
So, yeah, reading and writing tips. Again, there's only so much we can write, and there's only so much that we can read, especially when, only one article that we're supposed to read, among many, and that, per week might be 50 pages. So that's why first, I at least myself read with a pen, pencil, or a highlighter in order to underline or annotate what stands out. You can only learn so much from an article. And that's why I also break them down usually. I'll read their abstract, I'll see what, generally what they're about. And then I'll go from there, say, okay, this is something I need to know about more in depth. So then you skim through the subheadings, you understand, you know exactly what the author is trying to thread together for you. And then you get to the conclusion where they put it all together for you. I mean, you know, when you do things like that, you'll end up with notes that's worth a paragraph when then again that author put it in 50 pages. But that's the whole point of it. Um, it's to get what Dr. Wright calls our bottom lines. If you've ever taken a class or you'd be thinking of taking one of her classes, she gives us a template of something very useful called an annotated bibliography. And usually, when you think about writing a paper, at the end of it, it's usually okay, let me list out my references, I'm done. Which, you know, that's fine. That's what I used to do. But especially when I did it that way, it'd be very tedious. Um, so when it comes to these bottom lines and these annotated bibliographies, um, instead of having to do everything at the end, this would help you do everything throughout the process, because before you're even going to write the paper, you're gaining knowledge from source to source. This basically allows you to write the source. What did I get from it? And then at the end of the day, you have a track record of the research that you've done. And that can be used from anything but from a one-page assignment to a term paper.
And there actually is some digital software that can help keep track of your files. So I use EndNote and I organize it by class. And not EndNote, I use, what is it called? No, it is EndNote, and it's available for free on the Brockport technology page. And then I download the site from the library, and then I can put in notes on that. I can put in tags. So it's just a nice way to kind of organize that information so you don't have a million papers everywhere.
Which is easy to happen.
Yes.
And then I guess when it comes to APA in-text informal citations, the only really relevant thing is that we can't get an A in this department unless we have correct APA citations. And they come with practice. Yes, it is tedious, but we do offer a writing course as an elective, actually. And in that course, one of the textbooks is just an APA citation edition textbook, which tells you exactly how to write them out, no matter what type of source they are. And they even have guidance on how to create like an APA-based research paper. So again, even though a book like that is intimidating to get because they have like 1,000 pages, it's very useful to get because, whenever you go to write something, you have it right next to you. Not only do you have a way to have your sources organized and done correctly, but you also have a way that helps in terms of APA structure from the book.
And aren't you offering some tutoring and writing help this semester?
Yes, I am. And that is exactly what we can go further into if anybody would like to, or not like to, but need help with anything like this or discuss anything like this.
And this is one slide that I think often gets overlooked with reading and study hints. Take care of your eyes. You only got one pair. And now that we are moving to everything being more digital and looking at your computer screen more, it's very important that you follow the 2020 rule, 2020 rule, which is every 20 minutes, look at an object at least 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. Take a break about every 15 minutes. That would be nice, but every 2 hours for about 15 minutes that you spend on your devices. One thing that you should do is make sure the lighting in your room is brighter than the screen. You can raise the device's refresh rate, lower the temperature, which means it gives off less blue light. There also are specific glasses that can help with less blue light, and actually you can get a discount because you're a wonderful student at Brockport with certain online ordering things for glasses. Um, just wanted to throw this in there because absolutely we are being more digital every day. So it's very important to keep track of your health and eyes. So,
Mm-hmm.
and feel free to reach out to us. The MPA program started a texting number, so you can get hold of a GA pretty much whenever. Feel free to text that number 585-484-9632, or you can email us.
Anytime, anytime. Especially with, as we mentioned earlier, about the tutoring, accessibility is major this semester. An email isn't gonna, I don't know about you, Alex, but an email isn't gonna wake me up or bother me anything. So I
No,
don't
no,
care if
and neither
it's,
will the texting number. It's not to anyone's phone. It's a Google Voice number. So if it's 3 a.m. or 3 p.m., it's all good.
mm-hmm, anytime and as soon as possible, of course, we would get back to
Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you so much for coming to our talk.
you. Thank you.